Hello, y'all. It's Nick again. We're going to do another quick tutorial, I think maybe 10 minutes, and we're going to use masks again to create edge wear around the edges of mainly metallic objects. And that's what we are going to do into viewport shading mode. I've just got one of my own HDRIs. Whack your own in because you might need to see the reflection. So shader editor, new, and we're going to need Shift A, input, geometry, where there she is, and we're also going to need a Shift A texture, noise texture, and Shift A color converter. I always do that. Color ramp. There it is. Let's just get a bit of space. So if we start, we'll explain the pointiness, which I love the word. So put that into the factor, Control Shift click, and nothing happens. And you'll see if we try and add some contrast to see the differences, nothing happens. But there is a slight difference in the shading, and that's because what the pointiness is doing is it's assuming that each one of these faces is an edge, because it's calculating between this and this. So it's calculating the angle between this whole face and this whole face, and it's got nothing to do. So what we need is some subdivisions. There's several ways to do this depending on the geometry. We now will do the quick way to start. So select all your faces, right click, subdivide, 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. And then what you see start to happen is we're getting a bit of difference now. If we zoom in, so if we just bring in a bit of dark, a bit of black, you see we're starting to get our edge. And that is looking tidy. Might give that a bit more white, and bearing in mind what we're doing here is we're working on the mask. Okay, that should do for now. And then with our noise texture, grab another color ramp and drop that in there, and let's reset that. And I think we're going to definitely want some dark patches and some severely light patches. What's going to happen is we're going to be spending a bit of time mucking around with the color ramps that we use, because that's where the ultimate control for this whole effect will be. So loads of detail, I don't know, 0.6, yeah. And then what we want is this noise pattern to just appear where it's white, not where it's black. Right, old concept of masks. So we're going to need a mix color. So color, mix color. I wish they kept it at mix RGB. I preferred that. So we want to whack the color into, the pointiness color ramp into the factor, because that's our mask, and then put this one in the bottom one. And that's just because of the way this works, which order black or white is in. But if it's not working for you for another object, just play around switching between A and B and this one. But what we get if we plug this, if we Control Shift click this, is we now get this effect. And this is the opposite what we want. But if we increased the dark, you see it appearing, but we don't want darks. We want this to be black. So change that to black and beige. So now the noise pattern is only appearing there. But I think, and then as I say, we start messing around with, this is the noise mask, and I'm going to make that a bit more visible. And then let's just separate that into two colors. So Shift A, color, no, again, converter. Why don't I just copy a color ramp? Let's change this to, I don't know, darkish color, dark green, and a light orange, just so it's very, very clear. And drop that into base color, Control Shift click, and then we're getting it starting to appear. I would put a subdiv on top of that just to round off those edges, because that does, again, you see it's affecting the edge wear. So now that we've rounded off the edge, we need to look at the mask. And I would think if we put more white, so I'm going to look at this mask, because you see what's happened to it. So if I give that even more white, maybe a little less black, but we've got to be careful not to go too far with the black. That's probably better. And let's look at that now. And I think because there's too many gaps in the noise mask, either we edit the scale or we edit the color ramp. And I'm going to just take a bit dark out of it. Let's see what's going on now. Okay, so we've got something. So now we just need to make a bump. Shift A, vector, bend, and we can literally just drop that. It's black and white. Drop it into height. Drop that into normal. Bush. Invert that. That's better because this is supposed to be chips away, not the other way. And the metallic is equal at the moment. Let me just put that up to 4. It's going to edit our thing again, isn't it? Yeah, but that's fine. Now let's leave it at 3 because we're going to be zoomed out. So the metallic is the same, the roughness. So I haven't given it any metallic. Give it some metallic, that might help. And yeah, the roughness is the same all over. But we don't want that. This would be not metal. So let's have a look. If we take a look at this again, that's perfect because black is for reflective and white is for no reflective roughness. So we'll put a color ramp between the two. So Shift D that and reset color ramp, drop that in there, drop that into roughness, and then Control Shift click. And now it's not. Wait, let me just invert that. Have I done something wrong here? Shift A, color, invert. I think maybe if I introduce more white, let me just see. Yeah, that's exactly what I needed to do. Didn't need the invert. So we've just incorporated a lot more white. And you see now the edges do not have any reflection. It's proper edge wear. How many minutes? 8 minutes. Oh yeah, I'm definitely under 10. And then, yeah, as I say, if you're going to apply that to a new piece of geometry, so I've got this little head, robot head, which I did make for one of my previous projects. There's a lot of pointiness on that. So if I shift and then shift click this, or well, just link the materials or give it the same thing, it's actually turned out pretty good. But to me, on this object specifically, there's too much. So I would want to, well, as I said, we'd look at the mask first. So if I bring the black up, see straight away, that's giving me almost exactly what I want. And again, the way this appears is down to the noise and texture. So if you want more of that rust, drop the black, you know, and if you want it more separate, and again, just edit the scale. That gives you pretty much exactly what you're looking for. A nice bit of roughness, nice bit of rough edges for your metallic. Sweet, that was, I think, the whole thing under 10 minutes. Alright, wicked. I'll see you in the next one. I've been Nick, you've been you. Until then, bye.